So the defense bill that passed, what a surprise, when all of us were on vacation, the president decided he's going to sign it in, but he wanted to make sure that he made a few things clear. Mm-hmm. He said that he was disturbed by it. He had some reservations. But he's cleared them up in the signing statement.
That's the good thing about signing statements is that...
Which he said he would never do.
Yes. And he does on virtually every bill.
Yes.
But he says Section 1021 affirms the executive branch's authority to detain persons covered by the 2001 authorization for use of military force, blah, blah, blah. This section breaks no new ground and is unnecessary, remember he had some concerns like you mentioned, but the concern was that the bill does not limit or expand the authority of the president or the scope of the authorization for use of military force. Second, the bill may not be construed to affect any existing law or authorities relating to the detention of U.S. citizens. He was concerned that it was going to limit his authority to do that. But to detain
U.S. citizens.
He didn't want to give up that right. But he says, moreover, I want to clarify that my administration will not authorize the indefinite military detention without trial of American citizens. Indeed, I believe that doing so would break with our most important traditions and values as a nation.
Well, he won't do that indefinitely.
Everything's fine. He won't do that indefinitely.
Indefinitely, he won't do that.
And he's never broken a promise before, as we know.
He hasn't.
So this is good.
That's good.
This is good. I feel really comfortable with it now.
You know what I feel is good about this as that whole abortion ban thing that he was, doing on the healthcare? That worked out really well.
Worked out very well.
Worked out really well.
Of course, they were joking about it behind closed doors, saying that it had no real power at all.
I don't think there's a problem with rounding up. The president said, because he says he's not going to do it indefinitely.
Right.
Now, didn't he campaign on, I'm not going to, if a American Muslim is rounded up in the middle of the night.
That diminishes our rights.
It diminishes all of our rights. But he wants to make sure that this doesn't diminish his right to round up American citizens.
Yeah, but he won't. I mean, not indefinitely. Not indefinitely.
So, in other words, you could be rounded up, but you won't be held there for the rest of your life.
Well, indefinitely. I could, but...
If they say, you're going to be rounded up and held for 3,000 years.
That's not indefinitely.
So,
that's a definite period of time.
That's a definite period of time.
Okay, I'm glad to see that.
That's all.
I'd like to clarify a couple of other things. There's a lot of talk about this, Ron Paul being a racist. I personally think it's the wrong avenue to go down because I don't know. I can't judge a man's heart, whether he's racist or not. I have no idea. I've made that claim before on people, and that was just a nightmare thing to say in America. You don't want to say that. Well,
unless you're Jesse Jackson or Al Sharpton.
Exactly right. If you're Andrea Mitchell.
Yes.
If you're Andrea Mitchell,
why then it's fine.
Well, yeah, then you can say these things.
In fact, it's probably a really good thing when she says stuff like this.
The rap on Iowa, it doesn't represent the rest of the country. Too white, too evangelical, too rural. Still, here politics are personal.
Okay. All right. So
white.
Too white. Too evangelical. Too rural.
Now, there wouldn't be a problem if a reporter said about, let's say, Detroit, too black, too Muslim, too urban.
Right.
That wouldn't be a problem.
No, it wouldn't make the news at all.
I think it'd be celebrated.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Look, they're only talking about that's the problem with it. You know what I mean? It's too white. It's too evangelical. It's too rural. They have tractors there.
Ick. If we could just get rid of some of the white people in Iowa, wouldn't it be a great
farmers
state? And the farmers. And the people who believe in Jesus.
If we could just get some more New Yorkers in Iowa.
Now you're talking.
But not just any New Yorker. Urban
New York.
Urban minority,
non-white.
non-white.
Upper East Side
would
be preferable.
If they will, there's not a lot of minorities really there.
Oh, well, yeah, that's
right. I mean,
yeah, that's true.
You need to go to I don't even know, one of the areas where the minorities live in New York, and get them to move to Iowa.
Now I understand.
Then
Andrea.
we
Thank
could
you.
pay attention to that election.
Thanks, Andrea. I appreciate
You
that.
got it? Okay.
That's wonderful.
That's not a problem. So we got that one cleared up. So we have the president not indefinitely going to round people up. We have Andrea Mitchell. What? It's just like saying Detroit is too urban, too black, too Muslim. What? There's not a problem with that. And the Ron Paul is a racist charge. That is ridiculous. First of all, he was just the editor of a newsletter. That's all he was. His name was on the masthead, his family, and that's what. And that's what he was doing. That's it. He was just editing. He didn't necessarily write this stuff.
Well, yeah.
And it was just like one thing.
Right. Well, first of all, I mean, is it racist to point out the needling epidemic?
The what?
The what?
The needling epidemic.
The needling?
I don't know what the needling epidemic.
Or you remember from the 90s where there was the swarms of black teenagers, mostly women, little girls 12 to 14 years old, and they would swarm around and they would inject.
Swarm?
Yeah, they would swarm. And they would inject white people with HIV. And that was a huge problem for a long time in the 90s. And thankfully, somebody finally stepped up
Who
to
stepped
end
up?
Ron Paul.
Ron Paul.
He was there with the Ron Paul newsletter to tell us about that huge
is that how we
movement.
avoided being injected with the HIV virus?
Because I thought, at one point,
think that happened.
I don't remember
guys.
that.
I don't remember
it
the
was a
black
lot,
teenagers.
a lot of needles.
Maybe I was
Really?
scared about it in the 90s, but I don't remember being scared about it.
You know what? You know what it
might
be?
What?
You might have closed that off. You might have been
it might have been so scary.
It's repressed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
You should go to a good progressive doctor
and get
him to bring that out of you.
Yeah, good point.
You might remember it.
Good point.
Okay.
Well, I think
But that was the only thing that was in this newsletter.
and then this
was
is the
needle.
problem. It's all this PC stuff, It's because we're constantly told that it's evil to be afraid of black men, but it's hardly irrational.
What?
It's hardly irrational to be afraid of black men.
It's not irrational.
Wait a
No,
minute,
I'm-
who
it's
said?
afraid of
Is that your
black
point
men?
of view?
No,
or-
it's in the Ron Paul newsletter. It says we are constantly told that it is evil to be afraid of black men, but that is hardly irrational. So I mean, now we
it does
know
seem irrational to be
it
afraid
does
of a
seem it. But now that
person
you
just
see
because-
the
Well, it would
print,
seem
Yeah.
as almost as racist as saying that white people have
a
something
reaction bred
into them when they see a black man.
see, you're doing it again, and
What?
that's not. No, I don't know. I don't.
Typical white person
Oh,
who
Okay,
Yeah.
so this was in the Barack Obama newsletter,
no, he said
that
that
was in
one. Everyone heard that one.
was
just
in the-
didn't pay attention to it.
right?
Yeah, because
Okay,
Clearly
all
that's
right. So
weird.
it's just those. It's the needling thing and
then-
the irrational fear of blacks. It was in the Ron Paul newsletter, but that he was just the editor of that,
And he just missed those two little
He missed
items.
those two little items
because he
And
was
so
a
there
bad
was-
editor.
right?
And
so that's it.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's certainly, So
You're laughing like
You're
it
having a
might
hard
be.
I'm just,
Clearing your throat.
yeah.
Okay.
Well,
'Cause-
I'm just trying to find the readable,
What do you mean the readable?
certain ones I wouldn't want to know. Well, we could go into the. If those who don't commit sodomy, get blood transfusions, or swap needles, are virtually assured of not getting AIDS, unless they are deliberately infected by, fill in the blank, a malicious gay. And that is something that I know a lot of you guys have been
Deliberately
infected by a
malicious
malicious gay,
gay?
which is a huge problem. And,
Was there
I
a
don't-
marauding gang of malicious
Malicious
gays?
I thought there
gays
was
around.
marauding black children that were doing.
There were
it.
There's
so
a lot
many
of
people
marauding back
marauding
Really?
in the 90s.
and that was in the Ron Paul newsletter.
That's
Yeah.
why very
The
few
mara-
people survived the 90s. Almost no one lived through the 90s.
Oh, it was.
There was too many
bad.
marauders.
The marauding gays. It was bad.
Between the marauding gays and
And
blacks.
black children.
Children.
Black
Yes.
children.
Yeah.
That was bad. Boy,
Bad times.
You're
Bad
lucky.
times.
Good thing those days don't
I
come
sure
back.
hope they don't.
Yeah,
'Cause
you
that's,
don't want to have those marauding gays.
No. But
Or
that's
the-
all that was in the...
That was pretty much it. I
That's
mean,
pretty much it.
And I think obviously we can safely assume that 95% of black males in Washington, D.C. are semi-criminal or entirely criminal. I think we can all agree on that.
Wait, what was
I
that?
don't think we can agree
Hold
on
on, I
that.
don't think, no.
I don't think we
that
can.
would be something that if it were in my newsletter, I think I might notice.
Well,
what was that again?
I think we can safely assume. Now,
Safely
that's not to say that there's not more. If that's what it could be 97% of
Okay.
black.
Or a little bit less, like 94.5.
94.
Read the
93.
exact quote because maybe you're dyslexic and you got some of the numbers wrong or something. What is this?
I think we can safely assume
Safely assume
that 95% of the black males in D.C. are semi-criminal or entirely criminal. Now, he allows for semi-criminal there. So I think...
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, 90.
Wow. Ha.
Wow.
Well, wait a minute. What year was this? Was it illegal to be black in D.C. at the time?
No, we're not going
No, it
back that
wasn't.
far.
No,
No.
okay.
No. No.
Ah.
Some would say this would be a problem for anyone who said them at any time.
Right.
The fact that, and remember, a lot of this, these specific comments about 95% were ones he defended to the Dallas Morning News in 1996. So he says he didn't write them, which, look, maybe he didn't. But he was defending them to the press in 1996. He now claims that his advisors told him to do that because no one would understand that it was a ghostwriter, and that he took the advice of a political.
This was under his name.
This is the whole thing is under his name. He's the editor.
Yeah, I know that, but I mean,
Many
it was
of-
written in his voice.
Many of them are. There's no bylines in his
I
newsletter.
got news for you. If somebody writes something and prints it under my name, even if I am paying them to do it, and they write that 95 to 97 or more are semi or entirely criminal, I think I try to explain that to the American people, that whole ghostwriting idea.
Yeah, I think it's
I think
worthy of an explanation.
It is. I mean, maybe not the needling or the marauding gaze, but maybe that's the
Right.
tipping point. The third one, it might be the tipping point.
Well, it's like when you wrote about the black helicopters.
The what?
And
I
that's
didn't
the thing we all have to ask ourselves. Are foreign troops being stationed on American soil? I know you guys have been wondering about that a lot, and I have too.
I really haven't.
No, you were saying the other day you thought that the French,
French Foreign Legion?
the French Foreign Legion,
Was here.
had implanted themselves on American soil with black helicopters, and that's that's
He didn't use
that's
black
for them.
helicopters.
He did in big capital letters, black helicopters, which is.
Can I tell you something? Department of Homeland Security, they actually have black helicopters.
Yeah, they do.
They
And
do.
are they bringing... I'm just asking questions.
They bring in
Are
French
they
foreign-
bringing foreign troops into
French
our
Foreign
country?
Legion?
Either French, Spanish, Canadian.
No, Japanese.
I don't know.
Japanese
Japanese. Maybe that's
zeros.
why we're seeing all these. The Japanese tourists have been
Can I tell you-
replaced with troops.
No, they are troops. Yeah, you listen.
They're not carrying
carefully.
cameras
You
anymore.
listen-
They got
you see
Uzis.
You see or don't see a black helicopter. You listen you'll hear Tora, Tora, Tora. You'll hear it.
Wow.
You'll hear it. Japanese troops are on
Scary.
our soil.
That sounds like that. You know what that sounds like? The words of the Israel lobby playing Congress like a cheap harmonica. I'll tell you what. That's what that one sounds like.
That's not in the newsletter.
No, that's right
too.
here in the newsletter.
Really?
Because
Because
the Israeli lobby. Those are the ones that are screwing us, and they are playing Congress like a cheap harmonica. I think you'll be, and that in the the Bohemian Grove and
The what?
well, the Bohemian Grove, the perverted pagan playground for the powerful.
I've always said that.
Yeah,
How many times have we? Well, anyway, we got it.
Peg.
We're getting a lot of calls, and I guarantee you we'll get a lot of death threats today because we have decided to talk about Ron Paul today, and not the most flattering of ways.
Well, but there is a lot, and we've talked also many times about a lot of good things about Ron Paul. And,
Yeah, a lot.
and we've had him
Yeah.
on and
He's
talked to
the
him
only
about
one who I think believes it about the Fed. He's the only one who believes it about the destruction of the currency. He's the only one who believes in shut it all down.
Right, and he's the
shut
only
all these agencies down.
and he's the only one who will tell you to boil all AIDS patients' laundry for 15 minutes. It's the only safe way to handle it, Glenn. And no one will discuss
when
that.
did he say
except
that?
Ron
Though?
Paul.
I mean, if it was in 1981 when you thought
No,
you
it
were
was-
dealing with
Nobody
a
knew
bubonic
what it was.
plague, you didn't know what it was.
It was the 90s. in the early
Okay,
90s.
you
In
knew
the
what
newsletter?
it was by then.
Yeah, but I mean, everyone knows now, yes, that you have to use paper plates and cups when you're dealing with an AIDS patient and then burn them afterwards. But back then, we didn't know that, Glenn. And luckily, we had a physician like Ron Paul
Wow.
to let us know. By the way, and this is, I want to make sure that you guys know this. After someone with AIDS takes a bath, make sure you pour at least half a cup of Clorox in the bath water before draining it. I just want to make
Okay,
sure.
so it was only 14 years after we...
Always wipe the toilet seat with soapy paper towel. Do not put the towel in the toilet, but put the paper bag in a paper bag to be burned.
Okay, real quick,
real quick,
because we have Michelle Bachman coming up next. Real quick, let me just play. Is Ron Paul a 9/11 truther? Here's in his own words when a 9/11 truther approached him and said, "Why won't you tell the truth about 9/11?" Here's what he said.
Why don't you come out about the truth about 9/11?
Because I can't handle the controversy. I have the Federal Reserve.
Yes, the Federal Reserve
is to deal with it because
Can't handle the controversy.
Wow.
Now, if you don't believe any of it, if you don't believe the 9/11 truther stuff, is that how you answer that question? I can't handle the controversy? You say, because I don't believe it.
Because I am
That's
telling
why.
the truth.
I am
Al
telling
Qaeda
the
did
truth.
it. That's the truth. I am telling
Al-Qaeda
you.
did it.
Wow.
Al-Qaeda did it. Al-Qaeda did it. Al-Qaeda did it.